But the first step is centering the clay, of course. And I think we've kind of noticed, I've been painting, I got paint all over me. But you want to make sure you keep your arms anchored on your thighs. It's very important. And also when you apply the pressure slowly, and sort of decide where you're going to put your hands before you apply the pressure. And I think what most of you have discovered works best, and so we'll sort of stick with that, is coning and centering. So I'm just going to sort of push, and I'm mostly pushing with this hand from where maybe, what would it be, maybe like 6 or 7 o'clock. Forward toward 2 o'clock, so I'm kind of pushing toward there. And I can really use my whole leg. You don't have to use a lot of strength, but I'm just pushing it forward and kind of cupping my hand so that it forms a, so it's kind of, has that. Because that's also pushing the clay down toward the wheel head. If I were pushing like that, I'd be pushing it off the wheel head. But because my hand is cupped like that, but something also needs to hold it down, so I'm just going to grasp it and squeeze it up into a cone. And then I'm going to push down with my right hand on top, and just put it straight down and into that grasped hand. And so for step 1, we're going to center a little bit low and flat on the wheel head, because that's what our end shape is going to look like. So we're ready to, and I want you to keep referring back and forth to the chart, because what's going to happen is, if you don't have it perfect and you mess something up, just go on to the next thing, rather than try to fix it. And I'll explain that later. But so now we're going to open it up. To open it up, I'm going to use these hands like that, and so everything is kind of locked in. Put it down again. Keep my forearms anchored on my thighs. Look for the center of the clay with these 2 fingers, and it's going to push it down to the center. And again, always take the pressure away slowly. To widen the base for this step, take the sponge. So we centered it. We opened it up. To widen the base, the sponge is to wrap around the top edge and the outside, so you kind of have to hold it tight with your thumb. Top and outside. And again, the closer you work to your body, if you're working out here, you can see you don't have you don't have the benefit of all the strength of your body. So if I work here, I'm all locked in. Again, find the center with these 2 fingers. My hands are locked together. I'm pushing down on the wall and in on the wall, and bringing that whole thing out together toward myself. And when I get there, I'm going to stop, let the pressure off slowly, and take my fingers away. And you'll notice the bottom is a little bit uneven, and we also want to compress those particles like we talked about. So we're going to pull it back toward the center with a sponge. Kind of use these fingers like a bulldozer, just sort of pushing them out over top of it. And that's lining those particles up. It'll prevent the S cracks from happening. To recenter.
Are you pressing down when you do that, or you just?
Yeah, I'm pressing down just a little bit. I don't want to really deform the bottom, but I want to. They call it compressing the bottom. To recenter, see how it's sort of shaped like a tire now? This shape is going to come in. We want to bear in mind that clay has the memory. So we're going to tell it this is the way we're going. That's the way this pot's going to go. So we're starting from the bottom, pushing it up to the top, sort of compress that rim a little bit again. And now again, if it's not perfect, instead of trying to put your hands on it and the sponge on it and try to get it right, which will make it, what's doing even now, I see it's sort of taking all this fine particle stuff away from it, and that's what makes your pot stand up. So even if it's not perfect, just sort of try to get the rim on center and the bottom on center, and then we're going to go on to the next thing. So we're going to undercut the base, which you're just making a little groove with the back of your thumb. It's not a major thing. It's just letting you know where you're going to put your knuckle when you begin your pull. And when you mess with the base of a pot, the rim always gets a little bit wobbly, so you want to undercut the base and make a habit of resetting the rim right away. Sort of like one step. And then we're going to pull up. When you bring water to the wheel, try to keep this clean. It'll just make your whole work experience better. Bring water, cup your hand, and bring it to the wheel instead of going like that and getting water all over the place. When I worked with Charles, who wrote that book, he called it, because we worked on a kick wheel and the water would fall off onto the flywheel, and then you couldn't kick the flywheel anymore. So keeping your wheel head clean and not bringing using too much water was really important. He called it potty training. So,
are you going to crab it or not?
Pardon me?
Are you going to use that claw?
We'll do that on this next one.
Okay.
So I'm gonna use my first finger in the little groove there, and I'm gonna pinch it and pull from the bottom to the top. And when I get to the top, I have this finger free to sort of set down and compress the rim just a little bit again. So you don't want to get a razor edge rim at this point. So the pull, we start at the bottom, come consistently from the bottom all the way to the top, and then set that finger down. And the most important thing is applying the pressure slowly and taking it away slowly. Because if I get to the top and I have it perfect and I just take my hands away, I'm going to do something to mess it up. So you always want to take it away slowly. And we're ready to rib. And again, we're referring back to this. So to rib, it's just pulling up, except I want to give it a nice straight edge to the rib. Side before I put any pressure where I'm going to set the rib, what angle I want. The rib's going to stay stationary, just like pulling through, pushing down against the rib. The bottom all the way to the top. Turn it upside down and push that point. And I can, if this is sort of boogered up a little bit or something there, you can sort of cut that off, push it down in there, and push it. And I'm holding tight with my two hands. Push it in there, and then pull that clay out. And that's going to both visually set it up off the wheel, cast a shadow, sort of gives the whole pot an attitude, and it also will help to pick it up off the wheel head. And the ending of the pot is so important. The rim, on this one I'm just going to support it a little bit under the rim, sort of chunk it, make it chunky, and then just, so we don't have sharp edges, just touch the very edges. You have this nice edge, nice skin, the pot does now, because we use that rib. So don't come back and try to sponge it and finger it, because it's going to destroy that beautiful skin you just made. And then we're going to take it off the wheel. Do we have a wire?